2 days of consistory have just concluded. Now, for the first time, we can reconstruct everything that actually happened, free from rumors and interpretations. Because while the mainstream media was reporting on harmony and communion, very different words were filtering through from inside that room, and those words completely changed the picture. Let's examine the evidence one by one, and finally, we'll pronounce the verdict. Was the consistory of Leo XIV a novelty or the confirmation of a line we already knew all too well? Here's what we know for certain. The second extraordinary consistory of the pontificate was held in Rome on June 26th and 27th. 2 days, 4 sessions, and dozens of cardinals gathered from around the world around the Pope. First proof, the words of the Pope. Leo XIV declared that war is never worthy of man and is never blessed by God. It's a noble-sounding phrase and one that many will instinctively applaud. But let's dwell on its precise meaning, because here, precision matters more than anything else. The Church has always taught the doctrine of just war, the right and duty to defend innocence from an aggressor under strict conditions is even recognized by the Catechism. To say that war is never blessed by God, in an absolute sense, puts aside 20 centuries of teaching and continues the pacifist line already dear to Francis. And that's not the only sign. Leo described his office as one of demanding, rather than commanding, an image of a weak, horizontal papacy, fully consistent with the style of his predecessor. Second test, the method. The Pope addressed a revealing statement to the cardinals. Synodality is learned by practicing it. He seated them at small, round tables, acknowledging that for many of you, this isn't normal, and the seats were assigned so as to prevent cardinals of similar views from finding themselves close together. Cardinal Burke, for example, was seated alongside Cardinals Roche, Radcliffe, and Alan Cherry. Furthermore, the cardinals were asked to maintain confidentiality and not speak to the press, to maintain a climate of fraternal dialogue. This detail, as we will see, had the exact opposite effect. But there's something the headlines haven't told. The third test, and the most serious, is the silent revolt of those inside that room. Several cardinals, speaking anonymously, vented their anger to the specialized website, The Pillar. Their words are harsh. A Curia cardinal said that the consistory seemed to have been organized by a human resources office. Another added, "There's too much control over the topics and too much dispersion." Consistories usually dealt with just one topic. How can you have a serious discussion in a single session? That's not what a consistory should be. And again, on the very content of the questions posed, everything is anthropocentric, everything is horizontal, focused only on human experience and relationships. I must point this out. In all fairness, these are anonymous voices and should be treated as such. We can't put a name and face to them, but they are numerous, convergent, and collected by a reputable outlet. This isn't the isolated grumbling of a single disgruntled individual. This is the point that no major media outlet has made clearly. While communion and listening were celebrated outside, inside, more than one cardinal felt trapped in a format that left no room for true discussion. The synodal format, born in words to listen, was perceived as a tool of control. The absences also confirmed the uneasiness. 3 cardinals, known for their doctrinal firmness, were absent for health reasons: Zen, Erdo, and Ike. The very geography of the consistory, in short, was already set from the outset. Let's understand who Aldo Maria Valli is and why his words matter so much. For years, Valli was the Vatican correspondent for Italy's public broadcaster, RAI, an expert observer, not a keyboard polemicist. And after Leone's election, he openly believed in a change of pace. But on June 25th, he put his disappointment in writing. Valli writes, "Under Leo XIV, the Church not only avoided any reversal of course, but was enthusiastically reaffirming the synodal model, transforming it into a permanent method of church governance." And here lies the decisive test. The fourth, Leo announced that the extraordinary Consistory will become an annual event, centered on the solemnity of Saints Peter and Paul. Synodality from an event becomes an institution. From a method, it becomes a permanent structure. There is a question that hovers over all of this. After 2 days like this, can we still talk about a break with Francis? The answer, given the evidence, is clear: no. Here, then, is the verdict, and it is written in the facts, not in our preferences. First, the content remains the same, from absolute pacifism to horizontal humanism. Second, the method remains synodal. Indeed, it is made permanent. Third, internal dissent is managed, not listened to. The stance has not changed. It has been sealed. And here lies the real stake, which goes far beyond the squabbles of the Curia. A church that becomes completely horizontal, focused on human experience, risks losing the very thing that makes it church: its vertical gaze directed toward God, sin, conversion, and the eternal salvation of the soul. One of those cardinals noted it. There's a lot of talk about humanity, very little about heaven. But if the church stops talking about heaven, what does it become? A large humanitarian organization with a few more prayers. It's no coincidence that in these times, the most fervent souls take refuge where the vertical still holds, in the Mass of all time, in Eucharistic adoration, in the sacraments taken seriously. There, the Church continues to look upward. Let's be clear, the call for peace in itself is a good and Christian thing. No one here is glorifying war. The problem isn't desiring peace, but erasing the doctrine that distinguishes legitimate defense from aggression and reducing the gospel to a generic, devoid of transcendent do-goodism. Nor should we demonize the word synodality. Walking together, truly listening to one another, is part of the Church's tradition. The problem arises when listening becomes a process controlled from above and communion a label used to silence dissent. The consistory didn't change course, it confirmed it and made it permanent. And even before us, the cardinals who participated said so, as did a Vatican expert who until yesterday hoped otherwise. Knowing this doesn't lead to despair, but to clarity. A discerning Catholic doesn't let headlines fool him. He looks at the facts, and from those facts draws conclusions for his own life of faith. Because in the end, true synodality, the authentic kind, isn't decided at a round table. It's the communion of saints from every age who share the same faith. And that communion no format or office can ever reorganize. The Church belongs to Christ. Men pass away, methods change, but the promise remains. The gates of hell will not prevail. And we, meanwhile, remain faithful to what we have received. What do you think? If you liked the video, comment Amen. God bless you.